Welcome back once again to the Imaginary Gallery. It's TJ, your host. We're continuing along in Jackson MacKenzie's book, Psychopath Free, Recovering from Emotionally Abusive Relationships with Narcissists, Psychopaths, and Other Toxic People. Again, Jackson MacKenzie, the redhead, is the author. The part I've chosen to paraphrase for the evening to avoid copyright infringements would be torture by triangulation. This is a common technique which, unfortunately, I have observed and lived through. But to draw you closer, this creature creates an aura of desirability, of being wanted and courted by many. It eventually becomes a point of pride for you to be the preferred object of this person's attention, to win this person away from a crowd of admirers. They manufacture the illusion of popularity by surrounding themselves with members of the opposite sex, or if you're queer, the same sex, friends, former lovers, and your eventual replacement. Then they create triangles that engender rivalries and raise their perceived value, which Jackson takes this from The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene, Greene. The psychopath slash narcissist, sociopath, and other toxic people gleefully create love triangles, surrounding themselves with other targets to manufacture competition and make themselves look like they're in high demand at all times. Some targets will be used just to make you jealous, while others will be groomed as your future replacement. After once texting you on a minute-by-minute basis and declaring you to be the one, soulmate, they begin to pull away, showering other targets with the very same attention they used to give you. This causes you to try harder, striving to win this person back, unaware that you're simply being toyed with. Meanwhile, the new target falls fast, believing you to be crazy and bipolar and abusive and so on. But despite the sickening smear campaign, the monster will still flatter you behind closed doors, which this is true, in order to give you just a glimmer of hope, keeping you hooked until the bitter end. And that's something very important for all of you out there, especially some of the ones who've written messages. They give you just a little piece to keep you at least interested, because you know that they've run off with whomever, and if they were to turn to you and say, I've moved on with whoever, I don't need to see you anymore, goodbye, click, well, chances are you'd think, oh, I better go the other way. Chances are, though, these creatures need or want something from you, or will anticipate such a thing, so they've got to keep you at least close by. Before Jackson continues, he says that people fall in and out of love. We find new love before and after relationships come to an end. People cheat on one another. This section is not about these everyday occurrences, no matter how heartbreaking and unfair they might be. Instead, he's describing a very specific set of patterns and behaviors that these types of monsters utilize in order to torture and control the targets. Now, these creatures, like most predators, seek power and control. They want to dominate their partners sexually, emotionally, and physically. They do this by exploiting vulnerabilities. And now he's covering stuff I've covered, saying that's why they love bomb you with the tension and flattery in the beginning of the relationship, because no matter how strong or confident you are, being in love makes you vulnerable. These monsters do not need physical aggression to control you, although sometimes they will resort to it, usually after you figured them out and call them out on it. Instead, relationships provide them with the perfect opportunity to consume you by manufacturing the illusion of love. That's why it's so damaging when bystanders say, well, why didn't you just leave? You never entered a relationship with a psychopath expecting to be abused, belittled, or criticized. You were tricked into falling into this trap of love, in which is the strongest human bond in the world. These monsters know this. So how do these monsters maintain such a powerful hold over their target? One of their favorite methods is through triangulation. This term, when heard by survivors, usually is equated with the next target, but it's not always the case. These monsters use triangulation on a regular basis to seem in high demand and to keep you obsessed with them at all times. And this can occur with the following: your family, their family, your friends, their friends, ex-partners, partners-to-be, and complete strangers. The monster's ability to groom others is unmatched. They feel an intense euphoria when they turn people against one another, especially when it's over a competition for them. This creature will manufacture situations to make you jealous and question their fidelity. In a normal relationship, people go out of their way to prove that they are trustworthy. But this creature, Cluster B Monster, does exactly the opposite. They're constantly suggesting that they might be pursuing other options or spending time with other people so that you can never settle down into a feeling of peace. And they will always deny this, calling you crazy for bringing it up. The issue here is that you are accustomed to such a high level of attention after they first lured you in that it feels very personal and confusing when they direct their attention to other directions. They know this. They will forget plans with you and spend a few days with friends whom they've always complained about to you previously. They'll ignore you to spend more time with their family when they initially told you that the family was horrible. They'll seek sympathy from an ex when a member of their family dies and explain that they just have a special friendship you wouldn't understand. Often, but not always, that ex is someone they previously claimed was abusive and unstable. Seeking attention, sympathy, and solace from people who are not you is a very common tactic of the Cluster B creature. As an empathetic person, and as their partner, you rightfully feel that they should be seeking comfort from you. You've always healed them in the past. What's so different now? They once claimed that they were a broken person and that you were the reason they're happy again, but now they turn to private friendships or past relationships that you could never understand, and they will always make sure to shove this in your face. This brings us to the next topic: social media. Technology makes it so much easier for this creature to manipulate through triangulation. It can be as simple as liking a comment from an old ex while ignoring one from you. They will accidentally upload a photo album where they're embracing the ex that they once claimed to hate. Everything appears to be unintentional. You often attribute it to insensitivity, but make no mistake, it's carefully calculated. They will strategically post ambiguous statuses, songs, and videos that suggest that you might be losing them. They will share things that are intentionally meant to lure in new and old targets. For example, an inside joke with the new victim, or the love song they once shared with their ex. This does two things. It leaves you feeling unhinged, anxious, and jealous, but it also makes the competing party feel confident, loved, and special. They are grooming others as they erode your identity. Two birds with one stone. And of course, they, the monsters, want you to confront them about these things because they are so seemingly minimal that you will appear crazy and jealous for bringing them up. They will calmly provide an excuse for everything and then blame you for creating drama. Covert abuse is impossible to prove because it's always strategically ambiguous. You can't prove that they're luring in their ex because of a song they posted, but you know it intuitively. This is how they accomplish the crazy making, because, let's be honest, complaining about Facebook statuses and comments does seem immature, and that's exactly how they want you to feel. Exes who maintain a friendship with the psychopath do not understand that they are puppets to the psychopath. Instead, they feel that they're fulfilling some sort of beautiful duty as a friend, someone who will always be there for them. They don't understand that they are only kept around to spice things up when the psychopath becomes bored. I covered something like this recently. They don't see that they are the basis of so many fights, not because their friendship with the psychopath is special and desirable, but because the psychopath intentionally creates the drama. They're operating under the delusion that their friendship with the psychopath is brilliant, unique, and unprecedented, when in reality, they are just used for triangulation. Psychopaths are also expertly skilled at surrounding themselves with givers, insecure people who find self-worth in taking care of others. This is why your giving seems so insignificant and replaceable during the relationship. They will seem to adore people who are nothing like you, sometimes even the exact opposite of you. And the message is simple: you're no longer special. You're replaceable. If you don't worship them in the way they deserve to be worshipped, they'll always have other sources. And even if you do give them positive energy, they'll get bored with you eventually. They don't need you. Their current round of fans will always spoil and admire them, making you believe that they truly must be the most wonderful person. But take a careful look around. You'll notice that all the fans seem to have an unspoken look of misery on them. The final triangulation happens when they make the decision to abandon you. This is when they'll begin freely talking about how much this relationship is just hurting them so much. And they just don't know if they can deal with your behavior anymore. They'll usually mention talking to a close friend about the relationship, going into details about how they both agreed that your relationship was just not healthy. In the meantime, they've been blatantly ignoring frantic messages from you. You'll be sitting there wondering why they aren't talking with you about these concerns, considering it's your relationship. Well, the reason is that they've already made the decision to dump you. And now they're just torturing you. They only seek advice from people they know will agree with them. That friend they're talking to is probably the next target. The next video will be about the three main characters in a psychopath's love triangle.
I am the Narcopath, and you're not.
Another thing I did was my classic trick, projection. When I started to realize that you were probably starting to realize that I might be only using you for something, I had to beat you to the punch. So do you recall that one night that I said to you, sometimes I get the feeling that you're just using me? Which was classic projection because, hello, I'm using you for your bank account and your house, but I did that on purpose because it was like an insurance policy, because it wouldn't be long before you realized that I was the one using you. So I set that up in advance, so if by chance you caught on and said something about you think I'm using you, well, honey, I would just say, oh, you silly, you're copying what I said to you. See how that works? Which would, of course, fill you up with self-doubt, which was the intention. I had to beat you to the punch, and it worked. So many of my techniques work because they're tried and true. It's just another person, same story, different character. Welcome to my life. I am the Narcopath.